I want to start tonight by telling a tale, weaving the yarn, as it were, about a very special individual to me. And that is my wife, Schmoopymomy. So let's start with this. My wife saw that I was spending a lot of time on my phone and was interested in why I was doing so. And so she found out that I was playing a game called Hearthstone. This is several years ago at this point. And so she says, okay, well, I kind of want to see what this is about. And so what she does is she goes and she installs the app. And now she wanted to make an account in secret, call it Schmoopymomy, and then one day face me on ladder and be like, ha ha ha, yes, it is I, and I have learned your secrets. But she realized right away that she was a little bit over her head. There were a lot of important decision points, and she wanted to know a little bit more and get an opinion from somebody who was knowledgeable in the game. And so she let me help her a little bit. But a little bit of backstory to Schmoopymomy is her brother growing up was essentially the worst backseating chatter in Twitch you could ever imagine in any game she ever played, which completely put her off to any help in video games ever. And so whenever I tried to, go and help her do a thing or two, or give her tips here and there, she was not receptive to it. So largely her improvement as a player has come entirely of her own accord. I've steered her in certain directions. I've given her certain decks. I've given broad strokes on how to play it. But if you think that I've coached her at all from a standpoint of minutia in decision making, that just sort of hasn't happened. Not until she's really proficient on a deck and she's already making a lot of the macro decisions correctly. And I'm allowed to kind of look and see because she's playing confidently and then give tips here or there as far as just oh, hey, this is an alternate line, or, this is a little thing that maximizes damage. And so we finally unlock Wild for Schmoopymomy, and I give her a deck that was good for me in the last meta that I had played. The last meta I had played was the last month of Forged in the Barrens. The new meta that we were playing in was United in Stormwind. So Schmoopymomy parachutes down into one of the most toxic metas to have ever existed in Wild. And the deck that I give her is Scimitar Rogue, because Scimitar Rogue did very well for me in Barrens. I really enjoyed it, played well into Secret Mage. It was very smorky, and it was cheap. It was super, super, super cheap. And so I could make it for her, and I could let her plug and play and let her go with it. And to my surprise, my wife, well, I guess no surprise to me, but to my surprise, she very, very, very quickly got the hang of the deck. To the point where she was doing stuff like, well, I got to prep my Scimitar because I just got to get it rolling. I want to get this Corsair down. I like discounts. It's like a sale. I like sales. And so she started making some really clever decisions on her own. That first month that she unlocked Wild, she only had 5 days to play, and so she got up to Platinum. The next full month of Wild that she had, again, this was United in Stormwind, she had 4 boss battles, including one that was the 7th of the month. She didn't make any of her boss battles. She did not hit Legend the first time she played, and that was okay. The very next month, I gave her a different deck. I said, okay, hun, you did a great job with Scimitar Rogue, but the seed locks kind of evolved to have more healing. They were less easy to be preyed upon by the semi-rogues, and so we swapped her over to Pirate Warrior. And Schmoopymomy mained Pirate Warrior for a long, long time. And she hit Legend that next month. I believe that was maybe August? So you got to imagine Schmoopymomy here. I think my daughter was just born. So Schmoopymomy is banging out ladder matches, breastfeeding a kid, and hitting Legend with Pirate Warrior. She has never skipped a month without hitting Legend. And once, she even beat me to Legend with Pirate Warrior. She doesn't do tavern brawls. She doesn't keep track of the meta. She doesn't do anything outside of ask me, the 30th of the month, hey, what am I playing next month? And I'll give her a quick overview of what I think and what I think. And it's usually 2 sentences. I don't know. I'm going to be playing Kingsbane. How about you try playing Kingsbane? I don't know. How about you play this? Why don't you play that? And so that's what she's done. She's mostly been a BG's main for her career, right? So she'll play some Wild, she'll hit Legend and Wild, and then play BG's. She hasn't even really played BG's recently. Tonight I saw something amazing. Tonight she was at D5 0 star. She was just like, I don't know. Grote's not really working. She got a weird message from somebody on her friends list who was just like, ha, do you hate me? She's like, what do you mean? She's like, they're like, well, I just got Legend day 3, and that's something you can't do. So she's just like, she took my advice. It was a little bit toxic. And I said, you should tell them that life gets better and that more valuable things come their way. And she said something along the lines of, well, listen, life gets better. And I don't think it's really that big a deal. My husband gets Legend day 1 every month. And not only that, I also get Legend every month since I've been playing. So I don't know if it's really that much of an accomplishment. But nice job being a winner, I guess. And this person was very sad. But my wife did not remove them. Instead, they tried to make up with her and were like, will you give me my blessing? Your blessing? And then she removed them. She's fucking toxic. So I gave her a new deck because she's at D5 and 0 stars. And I said, all right, try the newest version of Pirate Rogue. You've played this before. The highest my wife has ever entered Legend is 10. There is one magical day where I entered at 5 and my wife entered at 10. And we were like right next to each other on the standings. And I have a screenshot of that, and I will treasure that moment because that was really, really, really cool. I'm pretty sure nobody was playing. I think it was just us climbing. And it was before a bunch of Chinese players came on, but she's really good at Pirate Rogue. She can play Pirate Rogue. And so I give her Pirate Rogue. And, first game, she wins. Babe, you want me to watch me playing? Yeah, sure. So I watch her play a little bit. I'm not backseating, right? I'm just letting her do her thing. I might see a thing or two. And she's high rolling anomalies, right? She's getting like, oh, let's reduce my starting hand by 1 on each. She's just hand dumping into gear shift and just ripping it. Wins her second game. Wins her third game. Hey, babe, you want to watch some Full Metal Alchemist or you want to keep climbing? She's like, I want to keep climbing. I'm like, yeah, let's keep climbing. So I'm just cheerleader at this point. She keeps climbing. Wins game 4. Wins game 5. Wins game 6. Game 7's a little nervy. Wins game 8. Wins game 9. She's like, I could stop. We could watch an episode. You got to stream soon. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna watch this thing play out. Wins game 10. Win game 11. Wins game 12. Wins game 13. She's now at D1. And I'm like, she's like, wow, I keep getting these achievements for like win streaks. And I don't want to tell her what they are because I kind of come from a sports background, especially kind of like a baseball background where you don't talk about a perfect game. You don't mention the perfect game because by mentioning the perfect game, you're challenging the gods to do something about it or to get in somebody's head or to change the chemistry. But she was very relaxed. So I said, yeah, babe, I'm pretty sure you've won like 10 in a row. And so she wins the game at D1 1 star. She wins the game at D1 2 stars. She wins the game at D1 3 stars. And then she queues up her boss battle. Oh yeah, she plays on mobile, no deck tracker. So she queues up her boss battle. She drew patches. She's like, I don't know. I don't like this. And I'm not really watching. I'm not really hovering because I don't want to fuck anything up. I don't want to make her nervous. I'm more nervous than I think she is. She's pretty cool. And then I look over and at some point she goes, all right, she's way behind on board. I notice she's way behind on board. And I don't know the real situation. She's like, all right, I'm secret passaging. If I find a hip hop harmonic, I win. I'm like, no shot. She goes, oh, I found a deckhand. That works. Legend. 16-0 from D5 0 stars. Now, I understand that the new MMR changes means that she could have possibly been facing more difficult opposition on the way up. But I don't know how many of you in chat have gone from D5 0 stars and then won 16 straight games in a row to hit legend. Even if you're playing like just people who are your peers, I think that is a very difficult thing to do. I've never done it. I've had some magical climbs, and I've lost a game or two on the way. I've won more than 16 in a row, but I've also famously trashed my MMR worse than my liver on my way up there. So I'm in awe right now. The legend of Schmoopymomy grows. And she is, in fact, the the single most malevolent presence that you can face on the ladder. It's worse than me because, honestly, if you queue into her, you know it's aggro, and you know she's out for blood. I think she's got like 3,000 wins right now. Anyway, I wanted to share the tale of Schmoopymomy because she's a very special person to me. Not everybody takes the effort to, even for their loved ones, to try and understand their interests, let alone partake in it. But I'm blessed to have her. I'm blessed to have her support. And I was playing my YouTube content the entire time she was climbing. So, like, you know, that takes a very special person to put up with my dumb ass.